Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Find a Way podcast with Dusty. It's been a few months, my friends, and I think the last episode was me talking about locking in. And it was such a, I'm going to do this. And let me just say that mentality was so useful for me that I couldn't sway. I got to do this, and I've got to do whatever it takes to do this. And now that I'm sharing 5 months later, I think from the last episode, 5 months later, I'm just very close to my goal, if not at my goal. Because at the very beginning of this journey, I essentially started with the goal in mind of going on to 199 pounds. I've never been doing in the hundreds, and I don't remember if I shared that on the last podcast episode, but I wanted to be 199. And it was just, I wanted to see a 1. And I essentially was just focusing on, here's my calorie budget. I'm going to essentially work on having 2 pounds a week while staying active, while integrating as much guidance from automation. So, ChatGPT, Claude, a lot of these automated, it's not a plan from them, but it's, hey, for my work as an example, we're utilizing Copilot as an option to use for reference. Hey, here's a bunch of data, here's a bunch of information, sift through it and give your analysis. And AI is all the time wrong. And approaching it for, say, personal items is to consider that, hey, most of the time it's going to be wrong, but just using it as reference, using tools that are available to you to see that what potentially may help. And I tell you what, it was such a valuable resource, such a valuable tool in my journey to leverage information from, I'm logging with MyFitnessPal, I'm weighing my food, I'm exercising, and I'm actually capturing those exercises through Garmin, and I'm just feeding it the information. I'm just sending it my weekly snapshot, what my intake is, what my calories are, what my macros, what my workouts are, and it just gives me a good analysis so that I can process, I can position myself, I can consider what it's saying so that way I can position myself for success. And that's where oftentimes a coach comes in, a mentor, somebody that you're bouncing ideas off of, someone that you're using as an accountability partner, because sometimes we know the answer, but we don't realize the answer unless we talk to somebody else. Oftentimes we have the solutions within us, we're just not, I would almost consider it, we have those blinders on like horses do at, say, Disneyland or major cities, to where they have the little cusp right over their eye, the horses do in public, so they don't see their surroundings and they are just laser focused on what's in front of them. Well, think about, if you're on this journey and you're just so focused on this and this and this, and you're not really opening yourself up to any potential considerations that may help, you may lose sight of what, say, an angle or an approach might be beneficial to your journey. And that's where I've really utilized AI to really help me understand that, okay, what are the calories I need to intake to lose 2 pounds a week? Okay. What are the focusing on fiber, focusing on protein, where do I need to be at to feel satiated, to feel full, to not have these crazy hunger attacks? And what are some ways where I can get full, yeah, but what are high volume, low calorie, go to every day I can have this meal items, and building those over the past 5 months. And it really has been so useful to, first, okay, what are the calories I need to intake to be at 2 pounds a week? Okay, what's that calorie budget? Okay, well, how do I get there? What foods, breakfast, lunch, dinner, when do I start eating? If I start eating at noon, if I start having breakfast, okay, what foods can I fit in there that are high volume, low calorie? High volume is strawberries. High volume is popcorn. High volume is chicken. These items that are high volume, lower calorie. minimal on the oil, minimal on the cheese, those stuff that's very, peanut butter as an example. I'm not saying I write off peanut butter, but these high calorie, low density items are something that I'm like, okay, that's not going to make it easier for me to be successful. Let me start off by finding these high volume foods. Okay, well, let me hit a particular daily protein goal, weekly goal, a fiber goal. Protein and fiber, the satiation, the full feeling, that's where it's going to come from. Okay, let me approach it that way. Then, let me do some workouts. I've been running, I've been doing HYROX, triathlons. Let me throw these workouts in there, and let me not just say, hey, I can have 2,100 calories. That's what, no, but I need to fluctuate depending on the need. So do I need to go up to 2,400 or 2,800 because of the marathon, the half marathon? And what kind of fluctuations do I do for carb loading for a bigger race like a marathon? What do I have the day before, 2 days before? All of those things are part of what the past 5 months have really been for me, is really learning those pivotal, I hope you know what I'm trying to say. Pivotal moments of calorie intake, macros, to say, hey, I want to lock in. Okay, well, let me get the details. Let me get the nitty-gritty details figured out for me to get to the other side. And so if you're on this journey, when you decide to say, I want to lock in and I want to get this going, you got to lock in not to the big fluff of sharing it on social media and posting a picture and accountability posts. Like, those are big moments. I'm taking accountability. I've put some weight on. Those are a part of it, but those are big moments. The journey is not made, your success on this journey is not made from the big moments. It's made from the little repetition of consistency that keeps showing up mentality happens. So you're not just locking in to that big moment of accountability, I gained weight, but you're locking in to, hey, I'm showing up every single day. Hey, I'm getting my macros dialed in. What are they? I'm getting my calories locked in. What are they? I'm getting all this stuff, nitty-gritty stuff locked in. And I am sitting right now about 208 to 210. Originally started this journey about 265, 270, dropping 55 to 60 pounds. Not like, oh my God, like, I'm not struggling because I have the protein, I have the fiber, I have the foods I enjoy. I have all this stuff locked in, the little stuff locked in. And it's become a very rewarding process in that it's tough to turn things around when you're at a moment where it's like, man, I put some weight on. And honestly, and I think I actually did share this, and so I'm open to really sharing it again just to give you a perspective, is that my wife and I really took our first and only miscarriage really, really hard. And the things that I have historically been very good at compartmentalizing or focusing on, not letting that stuff get to me, that stuff got to me. Not so much then that I all of a sudden just binged all these horrible things. No, I ate the same things I'm eating now, but my portions were very different. I'm thinking about crispy chicken nuggets from Costco, and if you get those, you know what I mean. 5 of those nuggets is 160 calories. It's great macro profile. 160 calories, 16 grams of protein. Great profile, but I was having 15 to 20 nuggets thinking, man, I'm having so much protein, I'm doing just fine. Didn't focus on the little details, and all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, is that 600 calories just in the nuggets before the sauce? It adds up. It really, really quickly, profusely adds up quickly. And so it's paying attention to those little details. It's paying attention to those little things. And so 5 months in, I'm not done yet. I'd like to get to 199, though my in-body scan says that I'm in a position to where I don't necessarily, in fact, I did my in-body scan, and it says don't lose or don't gain. You don't need to. And you know what it is? It's because of my muscle mass. It says essentially because of my skeletal muscle mass is 193. If I were to burn or get rid of the remaining fat that I have, it would leave me at like a 5 or 6% body fat, which is like the extreme bodybuilders. And I'm not trying to be there, but the extreme bodybuilders get there. I just want an everyday body. And so I have to consider that if I'm going to get to 199, do I have to lose some muscle mass? And usually to keep your metabolism going and strong, it's muscle mass. That's where that lean muscle is being built. And so it's a real kind of sensitive and up in the air time, because I'm trying to learn what is going to be best and what I'm going to feel best about in my body with the weight that I'm at now and where I'd like to be, where I would feel comfortable. And so that's where it's just, it feels up in the air, because I'm like, okay, could I stop now? Yeah, I could stop now. Do I want to get to 199 for some vain, silly reason? You know, part of me does. Should I? I don't know. And I'm right there in the middle of that right now. And that's what I'm learning about this, is that I want to learn what locking in means just to get to some arbitrary number, or to actually get to what's optimal for me. The thing I'll say is, I understand I'm in the process of kind of learning where a comfortable weight is, but how I feel now compared to where I was at 270 is absolutely worth every hiccup, every small nitty-gritty detail that I need to learn. It's absolutely worth it. And I've learned that before because I've dropped 300 pounds. So I know what it means to say, hey, it's worth it. I've said it, I've meant it. But when my wife and I really just kind of took a hit that we weren't ever expecting, that hit knocked us off our game. Like, knocked us off the mentality. Just because that's a loss that you just don't know how to explain. You don't know. You just don't, like, there's, I don't know. I can't even put words to it, to be honest. I'm trying to, like, well, this is, I don't know. I just don't know. But we got to a point where I don't know, it's still probably tough to articulate. I don't know. I feel like I'm really scatterbrained if I'm trying to like focus on that, because it's just such a tough time that it's almost like post-traumatic. Like, all right, yeah, that, like, I don't want to hover over that topic, but like, let me just say this about the past 5 months, is that lock-in mentality, I've wanted to have that lock-in mentality for quite some time. And keep in mind, if you're following me on Instagram, I'm running marathons, half marathon, I'm pacing. I'm doing I'm working out in the garage. I've got a gym in my garage. I'm doing all of these things, and yet still weight's coming on because I'm not measuring, because I'm not tracking. I'm not paying attention to the details. And that's what was vital, and that you can't outwork a bad diet. And I'm proof. I mean, how am I not proof in that the marathon running? I mean, late last year, I did 2 marathons in a month, 3 marathons within 6 weeks. You think about all that happens with that, and I'm still gaining weight. Like, you can't outwork a bad diet. And it was learning the portions and weighing the food and tracking to really understand that a pinch of cheese is 170 calories. Like, oh, okay, well, this is going to add up quick, what I'm having in front of me. But just want to use it as encouragement for your journey, that you got to get to the point where you want to lock in. And just know that moment where I want to lock in is probably won't be the moment that you do lock in. It's just coming around again. And man, I gotta lock in. I messed up. Gotta lock in. Most people will get to the 3rd time. Oh man, I've tried and I've quit and I just can't. And I just don't have the discipline. I don't have the motivation. You got to get back up and do it again. All these motivational videos and speeches from people are what? They talk about getting back at it. Getting. You fail 3 times, or you fall back, or you don't get you don't do what you want to do the 3rd time. Do it a 4th. Do it a 5th. Do it till it sticks. It finally stuck in February of this year, and I'm 5 months in, and I'm the smallest I've ever been in any memory that I have. 217 was my lowest from 534, and that was in 2019. Kind of my peak weight was 217. Being 208, 209, I may even drop more when I get back from Georgia, go back to Tennessee. 205, the smallest I've ever been. And so now being the smallest I've ever been, things fitting like they have always supposed to fit, the clothes that I've had since 2019 that stopped fitting, that were very snug and tight. I'm now done with skin surgery in my chest, so there's not these weird lumps on my chest that people are looking at, staring at, because it's like, okay, is that his ribs, or is that, what is that? And so I'm at the point now where I'm the smallest I've ever been, and I'm at a point where I've had the skin surgery, so everything is coming together. And it's like, man, I look back at the past 5 months, and I'm like, man, there were plenty of moments where gotta lock in. Okay, I didn't. Months before February, gotta lock in, didn't. Gotta lock in, didn't. Or finally, it's like, okay, I gotta lock in. I can't mess this up. I gotta do this. I gotta shake this feeling. I gotta shake this. I just gotta shake it. And it finally stuck. My wife and I both just started this journey in February, and we have done really, really well just by just locking in, like not taking any fluff and just locking in. And so my last podcast episode that talks about I'm locked in, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to do this, I almost want to listen to it and kind of see where I was 5 months ago. We're 5 months in, and it's working, it's coming together, and gonna keep going, gonna keep pushing. One thing I'm going to commit to is understanding and learning where I need to be and where I should be, and not just chase a vain number. Do I use it as a checkpoint, get to 199? Wow, okay, I can do it. And then get to a point what's comfortable with, say, a 205, maybe a 210, depending on the muscle mass, maybe. That's what I'm all learning, but you got to commit to the process. You got to commit and lock in, even if it takes 5, 6, 7, 8 times to lock in. You got to lock in, my friends. You got to lock in.